From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy. The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
I don't have my soundboard. I just have my air horn thing, though. Anyways, it's live. What's up, everybody? Welcome on into the Wake Up Warchant podcast. We are broadcasting live as we do on Wednesdays during the football season. I'm Aslan Hajavandi. Over there is Corey Clark. Both in our new abodes.
Right, yeah.
Well, actually, no, you're back in Atlanta. You're back
still
in Atlanta.
New. It's still a new one, Aslan. It's still new, but yeah.
It's true. We are presented by our good friends over at Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, Warchant BOGO, your promo code. And what you do is you take this bottle here, you shake it, you pop the label off. Corey, if you know and have opposable thumbs. Oh, buddy. Oh, and then you get her open. And you take it, everybody. Warchant BOGO, your promo code. Buy one, get one free. VitaminEnergy.com. Synergistically formulated, clinically tested, clinically proven to deliver results. Energy, vitamins, nourishing. Corey Clark works for Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, rate, and review. Corey, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. I'm trying to dial down the brightness on my screen so the reflection isn't so bad on my glasses. Okay. It's a good idea, right?
I've got this fancy webcam, and I bought
that helped.
You guys should put a lens on it to reduce glare, but you can still see glare on me, so I don't know how well of a job it's doing.
But is that better?
Glare. Yeah, you look great, Corey.
I like that. Isn't great because you see the screen in my eyes. But if I go down a little, is that better, or does it matter at all?
That's better. Yeah,
okay, perfect.
That's
what we're doing then. That's what we're doing. You're welcome, everyone. Now you can look right into my baby blues.
All right. Justin Priest starts us off. Who would be happy if Mike spent $8 million of his money to buy players?
Yeah, I think quite a few people. I think a lot of people want him gone, but if he's going to stay, it would be nice if he spent 80% of his salary to pay for a better team, a better product for all of us.
Again, we're not just exactly sure how plausible, legal that is, but I mean, it's been interesting.
There's workarounds, Aslan. Right. Yeah.
I don't watch a lot of other Florida State programming. Truthfully, I mean, I'll listen to headlines on occasion. I listen to headlines on my way out here to Jacksonville. But I did, for some reason, my Twitter keeps pushing me to the For You tab and not my actual feed. And I'm like, get me out of here. It's craziness over there. And I did see that, I guess on Jordan and Devin's podcast, the Travis brothers, Take Two?
I think so, yeah.
Take Two Travis. The JT just lays it out, man. Jordan's like, it's just all about money. Recruiting's all about money. We could have Jeremiah Smith, but we would have to spend $10 million.
Yeah.
And I think another podcast, the Nolecast, Ingram Smith, one of the Battle's End pillars. I don't know if it was him, so I shouldn't put his name on it, but somebody from the admin on that Twitter account retweeted it and started a little bit of a kerfuffle. How much do we think, Corey, like the pie chart, how much of it really is just ultimately money? I mean, no reason to not think. I'm sorry to interrupt you after asking you a question.
Yeah, you asked me a question and then jumped down my throat. Go ahead.
But what's not to believe Jordan? Like Jordan was in it, man. But then at the same time, the folks that do Nolecast have a good idea how it all works as well, too.
I guess I would ask Jordan, how would he know what it's like at other schools? I mean, I know he has friends, but how would he know that? Does everybody at Ohio State just outbids everyone? Or do some players like to go play at a program that they think they're going to play for national championships and be developed? Maybe for not the top dollar they would get if they went to Texas Tech. Like, there's no way to know that. Yes, money is a part of it, probably a big part of it. But you also have to, when you don't recruit well at the high, and I definitely think that's the case with the portal. But when you don't recruit great at the high school level, you then have to overspend to correct those mistakes on the offensive line per se. And you're having to pay guys that are, pretty good college players, but not NFL linemen, a lot more money than you would be paying a guy that you would recruited 2 years ago. And so it's a matter of what you do with your resources. I'm not going to be naive enough to say that money doesn't matter. That's clearly not the case. But it can't be the end-all, be-all. It just can't. Because I don't think Ohio State, everybody on the Ohio State starting 11 on defense, Ohio State's paying them more than they got offered anywhere else or could make anywhere else. Or, again, do they like being around other great players and winning a bunch of football games and going to the NFL? All that matters, too.
Absolutely. Well said. Any takeaways from Mike's interview on Wednesday, Corey? The interesting thing, I think he said it on camera, right? Like the first thing right out the gates, he was like, I was told that no one cares about how practice was going. So let me just save everybody the time and let's just like get to questions pretty much.
Okay.
Little loose.
Yeah, a little dig at the, I guess, us and people. Well, I don't even think that's us. I think that's just the fans that are like, we don't care that you had a good work day. Nobody wants to hear that anymore. Also, nobody wants to hear that they're going to respond and keep fighting. I think that message has been delivered to Mike Norvell. It should have been delivered already. It's all about the results. So at some point, like, what did y'all? I wasn't there because I was up here in Atlanta. What did y'all ask today, other than health questions?
Yeah, it was just health, man. Health.
Well, hey, give us an update on that. Where are we looking?
I think he said Randy looks good. Otherwise, we're going to have to wait until 11 p.m. on Thursday.
Right.
Which I don't know. Is it really 11? I thought it's, like if it's 48 hours before the game, then it would be like 10:30.
10:35. Yeah, but maybe they round it up to the next hour.
Yeah, so I think Squirrel and Randy Pittman seem to be good to go. We haven't got an update on Pettis, and we don't know about Deuce. But Tim Harris on Tuesday made it sound like that Deuce was moving around. They liked what they'd seen from him. So
it'd be nice. Yeah. Look, man, it'd be nice if you were good enough that you could get through this game without rushing guys back, because then you do have the week off for the final 5 games of the season. But you were not good enough. You were not good enough to just rest guys and think you can win comfortably on the road against anyone in this country, apparently. And so you do hope they're back, because if that lineup that was on the field in the second half, Tommy Castellanos without the ability to run, an offensive line that's just pretty good, but it's been made better by the fact that they have an elusive quarterback, but that's off the table. And you don't have Deuce Robinson, who's kind of a unicorn. And you don't have Randy Pittman, who's a really good college football player. It made them very, very average. But when they have their pieces, Stanford won't be able to stop them. If Tommy was at 100%, they wouldn't be able to stop them. But with Tommy, who knows what he is and what he's going to be able to do with his running ability, what that does to the running game. It could be a grind-em-out game, man. It could be a grind-em-out game if Tommy's not anywhere close to 100%, and especially if you don't have Deuce. Well, those are your 2 biggest weapons on offense, in my opinion. Tommy's legs and Deuce Robinson. Without them, Gus will still make some stuff happen, but I guess Danzy's speed. But without them, it's not going to be easy peasy just marching up and down the field, I don't think, as we saw against Pitt on Saturday.
You're working on a story, though, about how Gus has done his job, right?
Yeah, it should be. If it's not on the website now, it should be in the next hour or two. I basically wrote a column about it's kind of gotten overlooked, and I get it. Not kind of. It is completely overlooked, and with good reason. But this has been a miraculous turnaround offensively. When you really dive into the numbers, and not even a huge deep dive, just I want to remind people last year, they were 132nd in the nation in total offense. Out of 133 teams, Florida State was 132nd. Only ahead of Kent State. They averaged 270 yards per game. This year, they're 3rd in the nation in total offense. They've gone from 132nd to 3rd. I can promise you, and they might not end up at 3rd. I get it. They don't have Kent State and East Texas on the back half of the schedule. But there's never been a team through 6 games the following season has risen 129 spots in something like that. I mean, it's incredible. And it's get lost in the shuffle because they're on a 3-game losing streak. But it really is remarkable. They're 5th in scoring. They're 5th in rushing. Last year, they were 128th in rushing. Last year, they were 2nd to last in touchdowns scored. Now they've scored the 3rd most touchdowns in the country. All these crazy stats that are just – they've been kind of overlooked or not appreciated, again, with good reason, because the team hasn't performed these last 3 weeks. But what a turnaround offensively. What an absolute turnaround offensively. And if they lose to Stanford – 41-36. Gus Malzahn will probably be the head coach on Monday. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
Just in case anybody forgot.
It's unbelievable.
That was last year, man. That was last year.
I want to go down real quick. So, yeah, total offense, they are now 3rd. Rushing offense, they are now 5th. Passing efficiency, they're 13th. Scoring offense, 5th. Third down percentage, they are 3rd. Maybe they're 7th. They're 7th in third down percentage offensively, as opposed to 130th. It is unbelievable. Number one, it's unbelievable how bad they were last year.
Right.
But in 1 year, and again, it's not like Gus has been given a bunch of NFL surefire dudes. I think Deuce is an NFL player. He might be the only one. And yet, here they are doing this. It's really a testament to what he can do in a short time frame. Again, I know he doesn't have a ton of fans here. He hasn't built up a lot of equity here. But when you just take a step back, and if you were looking at this team from afar, this offense from afar, and what it looked like last year to what it looks like now, you would think Gus Malzahn is an absolute football savant that should be paid $40 million a year because he has completely turned this thing around. And, you know, if you just bring James Franklin in and let Gus stay as the OC, maybe you could have this thing flying again.
Do you think Gus would stick around if Florida State moved on from Mike and somebody was like open to the fact, like when they negotiate with Florida State, they'd be like, yeah, I'm cool keeping him? Or do you think Gus would be like, yeah, man, I'm not.
I think he came back to do Mike a favor, kind of. Not a favor, but they had a history together, and it gave him a good landing spot so he didn't have to be a head coach. It's a matter of what he really wants. Is he being truthful about just wanting to be an OC? Because I think he's really good at it. I think, again, the Miami game was a disaster for 3 quarters. I don't hold the Pitt game in the second half against him because he literally lost he didn't have anybody to throw to except Dancy. There aren't many offenses that would look better, any good at all, when Tommy's biggest strength is taken away and all his pass catchers are taken away. But does he just really want to be an offensive coordinator? Because if he does, then yeah, maybe. But if he was just using this as a stepping stone to get back to be a head coach, then he might put his name in for this job because it ain't his fault they're 3-3. And then when he got passed over for this job, he'd be like, no, go ahead. Hire James Franklin and see what he can do offensively. So I don't think so, but I would make him say no if I was going to bring in somebody. And I know these names probably are pie in the sky. They would never happen. But James Franklin, Jimbo Fisher, if they would be willing to have somebody like Gus just run the offense and they just give him all these NFL players on that side of the ball, and especially on the defensive side of the ball and on the line of scrimmage on defense, yeah, man, I think Gus could be awesome in a situation like that. But I don't know if that's even plausible, and probably isn't.
I want to get to some of these questions. We'll get to the one on the screen here in a second. But I mean, you mentioned Jimbo, so the door is open. I heard it on the way out here, listening to headlines. When again, everything here is very we're spitballing things out here, everybody. But the GM role, ultimately the way Florida State is stratified, Mike is still calling all the shots. It's not like Derek Ray is bringing him everything like. Right. No, Mike, this is the guy you need. I'm overruling you. We're going to get, Diamante Diggs instead of, some guy that had 15 sacks somewhere else. But like, have we not hit a point with Mike where like, if we need to do all of this for him, so we would need to get him a defensive coordinator. Obviously that's, someone else's responsibility, but we need an OC to call the plays, scheme everything up. And then we also need a GM to go out and get him like all the players.
Yeah.
I mean, at a certain point, do you look around? I mean, I know he's likable and you like him as the face of your program, but at that point, is that something that could ever exist? Like,
did he got a GM to? No, man. Then at that point, what is he getting $10 million a year for? Like his role should be roster development, roster retention, building the roster. If you're not the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator, and you're not calling plays, your main priority, your main job is to fill that team with good football players. That's where he's, I guess you could say he's failed. They got some good ones. They also got some average ones, and they've had plenty of guys over the last half decade that had no business being Florida State football players. That's on him. And I don't know why you would expect him to all of a sudden be good at that. If you know what I mean. So yeah, bring in a GM to tell him who to he has the final say in player evaluation and player offers. It's like, okay, then really, what is this guy doing, this middleman doing for $10 million a year?
This middleman. Justin Priest says, what incentive do these players have to play their absolute best with no playoff or ACC title game dangling in the distance?
I mean, you would like that. You would think and hope that you have enough competitors on a football team that there's like some intrinsic competitive spirit. And you don't just lay down, like you want to do your best, even if it's just selfish, because you want to do your best. There's plenty of teams that aren't going to win the national championship this year that play hard, and that play hard every Saturday. South Florida's not winning it. Well, I guess they do have a chance. Pitt's not winning a national championship. They don't have a chance. I thought they played pretty hard on Saturday. That's the incentive. Do you have pride or not? If it's all just goal-oriented, like team goal-oriented or just goal-oriented, then yeah, most of these teams, why not just opt out? I do think this team is built a little different than last year's team. I don't think it's going to go off a cliff. I do expect them to win the next 2 games, maybe convincingly, hopefully convincingly. They do it because you care. You care about yourself. You care about the name on the back. You care about the arrow on the spear on your helmet. That would be a nice thing to think that they do care about, and not just, we don't have a chance in the playoffs, so let's cash it in.
Cash in your chips over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Bingo night going down on Thursday, everybody. $250 in cash money up for grabs. Go play, everybody. Bring your dauber. Is it BYOD? I asked you this before, Corey.
Yes, it is. You got to bring your own. Yeah. Okay. I think they have pins maybe, but yeah, daubers. I don't know. That's a good question. I know people do bring their own daubers, because I wouldn't think they provide daubers for you. That's a step too far.
Delicious food, ice cold drinks at a really good price point, and it's happy hour weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. and then all day Sunday. Yeah, when the NFL's on, happy hour all day over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. There's going to be a lot of Noles watching the Stanford game late at night at the CP. Go hang out there as well. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com, the website, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. And one other note from our friends over at Ace, Corey Clark.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and Napa Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway.
What a voice. What a voice there at the end. Holy cow, you came correct.
Other than the Vitamin Energy mood, nothing else puts me at ease quite like the Ace jingle.
It's great. It's great. Yeah, that's what it's been great forever. It feels like it's been 40 years with that jingle. When you got something good, don't fix it. Yeah. McDonald's is always fixing their jingle, always trying something new. Yeah. Not Ace, man. They found something and rode with it.
Jason, good night. Good evening. Absolutely, Tony. Well, about Tony, how about that? What if we were to change the win over Alabama to a loss? The loss to Pitt is a win. Would the fan base still be in sky is falling mode right now, Corey? You're alive for the ACC championship still, but I don't know how great you feel about it, because you still have those. You would think, all right, we lost to Bama, we lost to Miami, we can't hang with the big dogs. We'll probably lose to Clemson, but yeah, I mean. Which is crazy, right? Because we keep making fun of this conference. We don't like being in it by and large, most people. But, we're getting to a point kind of where this is almost like conference tournament basketball, where it's like, man, whatever happens, as long as you can win your conference tournament, you can make it into the dance. It's like you can have 1, maybe 2 knocks on you in this conference and still find your way to the conference championship game. But, when that's already been off the plate before you get to November, that hurts. So, ironically enough, probably would be feeling better about things had they lost to Alabama and beat Pitt, which sounds just crazy.
Yeah, but then think about where you'd have been after that Virginia game, and especially even after the Miami game, or the Virginia game. Think about the Virginia game. You lose that one, and you're like, okay, well, you're 2-2, but you're really 0-2. You've shown no signs of improvement from last year. You played 2 real teams, and you're 0-2. And now you're 0-3, because it would have just been a week earlier. Like all this talk, if they'd have come out and lost to Miami. Now, yes, if they'd have answered with a win over Pitt, It calms it down, but not much because you don't get a lot of credit for beating Pitt. That's what you're supposed to do. You get a lot more credit for beating Alabama, and it just slowly went in the tank. It's like he's sped up and combined 2023 and 2024 into 1 month. Like, as good as we felt about what he did in 2023 and what he was as a head coach, he ruined all that goodwill with the next season. Well, then now he's sped it up at breakneck speed, and all the goodwill he built up with a win over Alabama is already gone 5 weeks later. It was really gone 2 weeks. After the first half of Miami, it was all gone. It's just, he builds up goodwill just to knock it down, and I wish he would stop doing that.
Let's go out to Hawaii. Our guy Ralph. Mahalo, Ralph. Aloha, Ralph. Guys, I'm hearing a lot of anger at Tony's scheme. How much of our on-field performance is talent versus scheme?
Yeah, it's a fair question. I think I think talent is the number one answer. It's also not a great roster for his scheme, but whose fault is that? I don't know why anybody would be mad at Tony for that. It's not like he surprised Norvell the first day of spring practice, like, hey, I'm implementing a 3-3-5. We got a bunch of good linebackers, right? Because they're going to have to be all over the field flying around. They're the heartbeat. Norvell knew what he was hiring. And he also knew when he hired them, they might need to upgrade a few positions to fit what Tony White needs. And I wouldn't say they did that. They got Stephon Thompson, who just can't stay on the field. Elijah Herring, who's a nice, solid player, but nothing special. No offense, Elijah, but nothing special. And then these other linebackers are clearly nothing special and didn't make any huge upgrades on defense. I mean, you lost Patrick Payton and Marvin Jones Jr., who neither one has been incredible at their next stops, but you replaced them with Deontay McCray, James Williams, and Deontay Diggs. Like, I feel like Patrick Payton and Marvin Jones Jr. were as good as what you brought in to replace them. Maybe better in Patrick Payton's case when he's actually playing hard. So they're just so to go back, I think it's the talent. I think you give Tony White another year to get his own guys, another year in the portal to get his own guys. It would look different. I don't know that he's going to get that chance. In fact, I would think probably not at this point, but things could turn around. But Tony White's scheme works, man. It's worked in this conference, and it worked in a better conference against better offenses. It works. It certainly has not worked these last 2 or 3 weeks, but you wonder how much of that is him just being a dummy, which he isn't. So it's not that. Or communication and coaching the players, that's certainly on him. And then how much it is just these guys can't do what they need to be able to do.
How about Patrick Payton with 3 bat downs so far?
That's what he does. Old batted balls. He was missing in action last year, but he's gotten back to it this year.
Big squadoosh right there. 0 last year. 3.
But he still only got 1 sack
in
5 games.
I think you guys were talking about on headlines, and that was like one of the things that Ira seemed to be taking umbrage with to Ralph's point. I mean, I think you hit it on the nail on the head with about the talent aspect, but like schematically, it seemed like, in Ira's interpretation of it, I'm sure Ira's talking to people that have got a good feel for things too, that they were playing a little bit, conservatively, maybe isn't the right phrase, but just let's let this kid prove he can beat us. Like, he's going to make a mistake. Let's just be ready for it. And they played so far off the ball. And if you're going to do that, well, then when they're not going to throw the ball deep downfield, you need to be able to run down here really fast and trigger and hit your gaps. And they weren't doing that at all. And then these huge run lanes get created. And he's scrambling for 30 yards to ice the game. So
that's ridiculous. That's on Tony. To me, that's on Tony White. You've got to figure out. So you've got to notice. Okay, guys, scoot the F up. Yeah. And also, okay, look, man, 0 is playing. This is not a surprise anymore. I don't know if they were surprised before the game that he played, but he was playing, and it became immediate. That was going to be their offense. Make an adjustment quicker. Make an adjustment, period, and have your safety look out for him. Like, you can't just expect. And again, this is either way. It's on Tony White. It's either on Tony White that his safety doesn't recognize the mismatch and cheat over because he hasn't taught him to do that, or it's on Tony White because he's in that defense to begin with, and he thinks Elijah Herring can match up one-on-one with Desmond Reed. Either way, that was a clear mistake. Also, players are going to make plays. You're not going to shut everybody out. You're not going to shut anybody out anymore in college football. I think Tony White's track record, to me, speaks to a guy that knows what he's doing, and if he gets the right pieces, can have a good to very good defense. He clearly doesn't have the right pieces right now, but he's also not helping himself. It's not helping himself. Gus doesn't have great pieces either, and he's managing to be one of the best offenses in the country. Tony White's his team's giving up 36 points a game in ACC play.
We go to Garnet and Gold, not to be confused with Garnet and Gold, your local go-to superstore for all things Florida State, everybody. If you're a Warchant member, you can save, I think, 10% off. More perks being a member. $5. I don't have my soundboard set up here in Jacksonville. I apologize.
How was that? Was that all right?
It would have been like dollar bills, y'all. If Mike is let go this season, how would we feel about hiring Glenn Schumann? By the way, he posted this earlier. I would have gotten to it. You didn't have to put money in the jar, but we do appreciate it. Yeah, Glenn Schumann, 35 recruits at an elite level. Do we know, though? Is it because of Glenn Schumann? But he's young. He's been part of a successful program, and he's part of the Kirby Saban tree. Is he? You liked Venables a few years back during the cycle, I feel like, Corey. I think going to the 19 cycle, you were like, Brent Venables could be a guy, but he's been around doing it for so long. I don't know. I guess Schumann, you're trying to think he's like the next Dan Lanning. He's like Kirby is the anti-Nick, where all of his assistant coaches go on and they'd be great, as opposed to like everyone pretty much falls on their face. I don't know if Kirby's reached that level of status, and I don't know if Glenn Schumann is the next Dan Lanning. But
yeah, it's who knows if.
I can convince myself, though, right? We could convince ourselves.
I do think it is vastly important. It is incredibly important to get someone that has been around big-time football and championship-level football, what that looks like on the recruiting trail, what that looks like with the battle's end, what that looks like in practice, like what it looks like to coach greatness, to coach really good kids, be around it. I would prefer somebody that's been a head coach doing it, but that's probably not likely. I don't want to go the AAC route again. I don't want to. They've done it 2 years in a row. I know Willie was at Oregon, but that was for a year. He was hired at Florida State because what he did in South Florida. Well, South Florida isn't Florida State, and you've got to recruit against different types of programs. Yeah, Mike brought in really good players for Memphis, but he was recruiting against Tulsa and Vanderbilt. He wasn't recruiting against Florida and Alabama. And I want somebody that knows what that is like and how to get those players and how to keep those players. So if you could convince yourself that someone like him, just someone at a big boy school like at Ohio State or Georgia or at Texas that is continually putting big time players in the league, fine. If you go the Sun Belt AAC route again, man, it is. I guess there's no guarantee, and it's all percentages. I want the next guy to win. Obviously I want him to be awesome, but more than anything, I want him to give us good players and fun players to watch and guys that go to the NFL. Because if you do enough of that, you'll win just by the sheer nature of the talent on your roster. But also, at the very worst, it sets it up for the next guy. If you do make a mistake, just the guy, you don't need 3-star recruits anymore. You don't need to live off that tree. And I want guys that have connections to big-time programs, big-time football players, and can fill this roster with NFL talent.
Fran Brown, Tony Greco says, FSU Robert ponders aloud, how are our recruiting classes so decent but yield nothing? How is the eval that bad? So this past season, they were 20th in recruiting, according to the composite over at On3. 2024, they were 12th. So that's coming off your 13-0 season. 2023, coming off that 10-3 campaign, they were 22nd. So yeah, I mean, they kind of have this neighborhood they're hanging out in, like high teens into the 20s, and they're not consistently a top 25 team. But they were a top 5 team, so maybe you live with the highs, you live with the lows. But is that like I don't know, fair question, but like a reasonable question, I guess?
I mean, would you look at the so 2023, 24, and 25, they were all what, around
23, they were 22nd. 2024, they were 12th. That was like the Chrome and Hawk class. And then this past season with the new staff, they were 20th.
I mean, I know people don't want to hear this, but if you squint, this is a top 20-ish football team. They just have lost games in the margins. The point being, I don't think there's a ton of difference between the 9th-ranked team and the 29th ranked team. You've got to place. You've got to have a couple of special guys, and you got to play situations better. But Florida State beat Alabama, and look at those recruiting rankings. The problem when you recruit at this level is, especially not this class, but the 2 years before, is they've all left. Like you're not building any depth. It doesn't seem like, because so many of them have left. That's not how you build a program. Whether if you recruit the 37th best class, but 90% of them stay, well, then you're going to get starters out of that. The problem with like the 23 class is I don't know that they got a single starter. That's horrible. Like honestly, I don't care about rankings as much, and I get it. I mean, I do care about rankings. I know they mean something. I'm saying, like, it's the hit rate 2 or 3 years after the fact. Did you get any contributors, any starter level talent in your recruiting class? And when you go look at those, no, not until this year do I think you've hit on more than a handful. Like, I think this year you've hit. I feel confident in the Desirs, Wynn, Boggs, Cromall. So even at the very least, there's 5, and Arnaud. So there's 6. Well, heck, man, that's twice as many as you hit in 20 after coming off in 13-0 season. So it's not a real answer. It's not an exact science. Clearly, that is the answer. It's not an exact science. And the more 5 stars you get, if you get 3 5 stars and a bunch of low 4 stars, you're going to be a top 5 class in the country. Those 5 stars boost those rankings up quite a bit. Florida State does not have any 5 stars. I don't know that they've signed a 5 star since Mike Norvell has been here. So those recruiting rankings reflect that. And clearly the evaluation has been bad. I don't know how it's been that bad, but it has been.
Who are some guys that if they went and recalculated, would be significantly higher? Like, would Mekhi Dansby be a 5 star, do you think?
Ooh, I would say if Mekhi Dansby plays like this for the rest of the year and then he were to go in the portal, and don't you effing dare, Mekhi. I don't want to – you better not. Florida State's a track school too. Remember that. Florida State got you on the track. I would say he's a 5-star portal guy. I think he'd be one of the 5 best skill position players in the country. So, yes, I think he's outplayed whatever ranking he was for sure. But then Cam Davis was ranked higher than him. How's that turned out? Yeah. They've missed on plenty of guys. Kromenhawk clearly was not one of the best quarterbacks in the country, it would not appear. And, yeah, you just keep making – and you can't recruit an offensive lineman, period, ever. You just can't. It's just not a thing.
Thomas Smith, do you think the lack of depth and the injuries have caught up with us? Also, with the bye week, can we get healthy and make a run in November?
Yeah, man. If they could survive Stanford, which is a crazy sentence to say, and they get healthy, and more importantly, Tommy looks like Tommy again with his legs, you're going to need Tommy at basically full strength athletically to beat Clemson. That defense is good. They're going to be revved up. They'll probably be on a nice winning streak, and they could kind of make their season with a win over their rival. If you can beat Stanford and Wake and go into that Clemson game 5-3 and with a healthy Tommy, he's a wild card difference maker that they don't have a plan for. There's not much they can do with there is obviously, but he's a guy that's really hard to prepare for, I guess I should say. And he's the wild card where if he's healthy and running like he can run, that's bad news for Clemson. If he's what he's been the last 2 or 3 weeks, I feel very confident you're going to lose that game. So you need to get him healthy for Clemson. And then, yes, they have not been the healthiest team on offense. The problem is, and I think people are right to point this out if they're listening to this or watching this, I feel like they've been pretty healthy on defense, Aslan.
Yeah.
What's the
Diggs,
excuse there?
Yeah, Diamante Diggs is the only guy I can think of that's been out. That
Parker missed a game, right?
Yeah.
But overall, I know They lost Quindarius for the year, but he was the third cornerback anyway, and everybody has injuries. They have not been crushed by injuries on the defensive side of the ball, and yet they still look like that. So I think your ceiling is only so high because your defense can only be so good. But offensively, you could get back to a point where you could just kind of outscore Clemson and Florida. You could have a quarterback and a couple of pass catchers that just make special ass plays to go win in tough environments. That is a possibility. But you also might be on an interim coach and not playing for anything, and half the kids might have decided to take it to the portal. It's pretty tenuous right now, and it feels like it's all on the line these next two games.
David P., what happens if we lose to Wake and Clemson?
I think if they lose to Wake, that he's fired on that Sunday. Same goes for Stanford. I think if they lose badly to Clemson, it's close, but probably not because he still has a chance at 8-4. But if you lose to Stanford or Wake, if you lose to Wake Forest to lose your third straight home game, like again, I said this on yesterday's show. You can justify these three losses if you look at them in a vacuum. Again, Virginia's tough to play. They're a good team. Played them on the road, double overtime. Miami's one of the best teams in the country. Pitt, you had a 7-point lead, and then you lost your best receiver, and all your other pass catchers were out. There was an excuse. You only had 3 points in the fourth quarter in the second half. If your offense had stayed what it was in the first half, you win that game. It couldn't because you didn't have Deuce Robinson. So those are all legitimate. There's no legitimate reason to lose to Stanford at all and Wake at home. There's none. And if you do, there's no way you can sell yourself out of that. It'd be like, if it breaks a certain – no. Nope. And you're probably already there anyway with a lot of this fan base. They're already there with another 3-game losing streak and 8 straight conference losses. But if you lose to Wake or Stanford, you're done. You're done. There's no coming back from that, in my opinion. If you lose to Clemson and it's close, I mean, I don't know. I think you say, all right, win the next 3. You finish 8-4 with a win over Alabama. You go 2-0 against the SEC with a win over Alabama and a win over Florida. You go to a bowl. That might be your 9th win. You bring all these guys back, and you feel like it's 2022 turning into 2023 again.
Stanford, again, interim coach, 1-year rental explicitly. I mean, Frank Reich is not sticking around in Palo Alto. But yeah, if you're to lose to Wake, like year 1, that place, they're coming off consecutive 4 and 8 seasons. I think that kind of stuff needs to also matter. I mean, not so much like the wins and the loss, but like who you're losing to, like where they're at in their climb, if you will. Tony Elliott had like back against the wall kind of going into this year, and he seemingly has done a good job at figuring it all out. But the one thing I do take a little bit of exception to, and you're not wrong, Corey, like, Virginia might be, they might finish the season, with 9 wins and be ranked. And I don't know if Pitt will be, we'll see, but like Florida State, it's Florida State. Like, you're allowed to beat a team that's quote unquote good. I mean, as it sits right now, if the season ended right now, your wins are against 2 absolute tomato cans and then like a fluke win over Alabama. And then everybody else.
It wasn't fluky.
I know, but
I know what you mean. It feels like a fluke now. It feels like the anomaly. Much like 2023 now feels like the anomaly for his career. Alabama feels like the anomaly for this season. But if you, again, we're talking about it in the midst of a 3-game losing streak. We might be singing something different in December 1st. Again, I'm not predicting that. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But you look at these games on their own. There are justifications to lose these games. Those 2 take on, and Virginia Tech too. Those 3, I feel like all 3 of them are career enders. Florida State career enders anyway. If you lose those games, you just imagine losing to Virginia Tech at home against an interim coach. There's no chance you survive that. And there's no chance you survive losing at Stanford against an interim coach. And Stanford's also like 110th in the country in both total offense and total defense. And they will not have anybody there. Nobody cares. You do. There is absolutely no excuse to go out there and lose that football game. And if you do, he has proven to you. He's probably already proven to you, but he has absolutely proven to you he ain't it. And it's time to move on. It's time to move on. You can lose to good teams. Virginia's a top 25 team. Pitt is very, very close to being 6-0, and they're undefeated with that hot shot Dan Marino at quarterback, apparently, a mobile Dan Marino. But yeah, man, Miami's Miami. There is absolutely no excuse in any of these losses coming up if they were to lose these games.
I don't know how to handle this one, Corey. So I was looking down at my phone earlier and I texted Ira and I was asking if.
Yeah, it's off the record. Yeah, don't.
Okay.
It was off the record, so I don't
Okay.
think we can talk about it. Yes. So yeah, don't. Yeah. But
John.
it was the explanation we got was innocuous. Let's say that it was benign, innocent.
The black
John,
eye we're
correct.
talking about,
John, you're correct. I know there are probably some positive Peters out there. They're not on the Florida State beat or on the Florida State message boards right now because it's a 3-game losing streak.
Yeah. What would you like to talk about, John? Let us know what you're seeing.
Hey, the basketball team. The basketball team has a big game, a big exhibition game against Alabama, and I think that it's going to be streamed on YouTube. They play tomorrow night, Thursday night, at some weird little arena in Birmingham against the University of Alabama, who I think was in the Final Four last year. But a very good program. So that'll be a nice opening test. And it doesn't count. It's an exhibition. But it'd be cool to see how Luke's team performs. Matt
Lasser is going to be out there, everybody.
Yeah. And, John, I would like you to know, I did talk about how good Gus has been with the offense.
He was, yeah.
He's been very, very good.
You're just showing up at a bad time in the show, everybody. It's never a bad time, though, for Corey Clark to dish out some winners for us over at Underdog Fantasy Sports. There you go, everybody. They make us wait sometimes, but, all good things or whatever, good things come to those who wait. We finally have some higher lowers. Oh, I made the error this time, Corey. No underdog, overdog, though, at Underdog Fantasy Sports. All right, so, Tommy, 55.5 rushing yards, Corey.
Under. Hammer it. Sorry, lower. Hammer it.
You got to move this comment off the screen. Okay, so we're going to take the lower. They got a lot of Stanford guys. Cole Tab, I will say take the higher on 32.5. He's from Florida. He's from the Panhandle.
All right.
He's probably going to be angry.
Okay, there you go. That's probably good.
Gavin Sawchuk, longest rush, 17.5, 62.5 total.
I like the higher on both of those, honestly, but I would definitely take the higher on the rush. I do think he'll bust out a big one.
Okay, we'll go 7. Then let's do a fourth one. I don't know if we want to touch Deuce because, only else we have left is Deuce and Randy. We don't know the status really right now of either. Deuce, 69.5 receiving yards, 30.5 longest reception. Randy Pittman, 26.5 total.
We feel better about him, though, right?
Yeah.
I would say higher on him.
Okay.
If he's back, that's going to be, and especially if Deuce is limited or doesn't go, I think Randy is going to be the guy he throws to a lot.
That, boys and girls, is a nearly 10-1 payout over at Underdog Fantasy Sports. I wish I could go here and scroll up. There we go. So we got Tommy, lower, 55.5 rushing yards. Cole Tab, he's the number 2 running back for Stanford, but he's a Florida native. Those people seem to rise up in these moments.
Right.
Higher, 32.5 rushing yards. Gavin Sawchuk, we're going on the higher singular longest rush, 17.5. And then Randy Pittman, 26.5 receiving yards higher. Let's go ahead and do it. Lock it in, everybody. Underdog Fantasy Sports. Download the app today. Sign up a promo code WARCHANT to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Disclaimer, must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 and older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. And shout out to our friends over at Ridge, hooking you folks up with 10% off your order when you use the promo code WARCHANT. I had my Ridge wall in my pocket. I didn't bring it with me into the office, Corey.
Good job, idiot.
What an absolute failure. But I got that. I've got the key chain thing. So super slick. front pocket life. Don't have to worry about sitting on something.
Yeah.
And the read that I usually throw in here, Corey, I talk about how my lower back hasn't been bothering me as much. So maybe it's because I don't sit on a
big
clump of
fat
stuff.
wallet. Yeah, all right. That's good.
Has Brady's life enhanced at all ever since you gave him the Ridge wallet?
I mean, he doesn't have it. No. I mean, he likes it. Don't get me wrong, but he still has no. He's always complaining about not having any money. So, Ridge wallet or not.
All right. Well, if you don't have money, it's okay. Get out there and grind and work, everybody. But 10% off. How about that? Over at Ridge with the code. That's terrible. Ridge is definitely dropping us now. Thanks for hanging out with us for this time, Ridge. Wake Up saves 10% off at ridge.com. 99-day risk-free trial, free shipping, and lifetime warranty on the wallet. Lifetime warranty. Could possibly be the last wallet you ever purchase. Ridge.com.
It will be.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, Corey just picking me up all over the place here. Oh, right to the crux of the matter. We get back to the questions. Wes and the Villages. Do we cover the spread Saturday? You need to give us your game pick for the report after this, Corey. So remind me to get you on camera before you log off of there. But I'll give you all a spoiler. I do not have Florida State covering.
No chance do I have them covering. Just take a 28-27 win and leave. But so that probably means they're going to win by 40 points. But no, I would not think they're going to cover. The defense has not been good enough to beat teams by 17.5 points.
We spoke about this a little bit earlier in the program, Alvin, but welcome to the Terror Dome. Alvin loves how Jordan has been going to bat for Mike and how he is saying he cannot give up on the coach that saved his career. But, man, Jordan, I think you have it backwards. I think you saved Mike's career. And let's be honest, Kenny Dillingham is really the one who saved Jordan's career.
Yeah, that's all fair, Alvin. I understand. I talked about it on Headlines. If you guys don't know Jordan's podcast, he's really defended Norvell a lot. He's defended him on Twitter. People have been going back at him pretty viciously. But you set yourself up when you're on Twitter. I mean, you don't get to tweet and then not expect reactions. And so even if you are one of the all-time greats, but yes, he has absolutely been defending Mike Norvell. I think it's commendable. I do. But as I said on Headlines, man, Jordan Travis is a Florida State Seminole before he's a Mike Norvell football player. And I feel like he would be good to realize that and remember that. Like there are a lot of people that are hurting right now that don't want to be told how good a coach Mike Norvell is when they continually lose games. And I think Alvin's point is a good one. Like there's a lot of people that can say, Jordan, if he had his way and McKenzie Milton had been decent in 2021, you would have never been around in 2022 and 23, and he would have been bounced two or 3 years ago. He portaled over Jordan Travis to get McKenzie Milton and played McKenzie Milton over Jordan Travis after he came in the Notre Dame game. So I think that's a fair point. Kenny Dillingham really liked Jordan from the jump. Norvell gets credit. Norvell saw it pretty quickly, and Jordan became his guy. I'm not trying to dismiss what he did. But yeah, it just always gets uncomfortable and a little messy when coaches are on the hot seat and these things. Right? It didn't happen with Taggart because he didn't have any guys. He wasn't here long enough. But it always gets like this, and it can be a little bit uncomfortable when you have players defending their coach, which is commendable, but defending him against the Florida State fans who cheered for you and in Jordan Travis's case paid you to go win football games. It's like you don't want to get in the middle of stuff like that. Like allow fans to be upset at your head coach and expect more from him. At the same time, appreciating what he did for your career. Those are all they don't have to be mutually exclusive. And then it was funny. I saw Antonio Cromartie tweet because I was on the 4U page for some reason. And he was tweeting about when he got to Florida State, you knew as a freshman there was a certain standard you upheld to. And if you didn't uphold that standard, you didn't get to play, and how things were different when he got there in 2003. And it's like, man, go ask those fans from 2003, 2004, and 2005 how much they liked those Florida State teams. Because they weren't great either. And there was a standard that was there before Antonio Cromartie got there that he never got to experience because they were straight up losing 3, 4, 5 games a year his whole career at Florida State. So does he really get to speak on the greatness of Florida State when his teams weren't great? Yes, he does, because he went through it and he played and he was great. But there is going to be pushback to that too. It's just it can always get messy with fans and players. but especially modern day players that that speak up for the coach that's lost 8 straight ACC games. But
Really
keep fighting a good fight, Jordan. Keep fighting it.
Really good question from Octavio. If we leave Palo Alto with a 45-10 victory, would that make you more frustrated or happy? I like this question, Corey, because the idea that Florida State could look anything like they looked like against Alabama to me has like exited my mind. I just don't think like that team exists any longer. But I mean, listen, they wasn't that long ago, August 30th. I would not be frustrated. I'd be happy. I'd be like, all right, well, they something clicked. They figured something out. I know Stanford's not a great team right now, a great program, but yeah, if they go on the road and win by over 4 touchdowns, I think probably a little bit grumpy about it. Like, well, God, dadgum, like where was some of that earlier? But overall, I would be happy.
I would compare it to we keep coming back to this season, and we might be not able to do it after this weekend, but the 2022 team, they had the 3-game losing streak and then beat the bejesus out of Miami, beat Georgia Tech at home badly, and then went and beat the bejesus out of Miami, and then went and beat the bejesus out of Syracuse. I don't think people were frustrated by that. I think they were happy, like, okay, they've turned the corner. The difference this time is that we're 3 years later and you're having to have another rebound on a rebuild season. And it's like, okay, at some point, you got to be through with the losing streaks and having to rebound and respond from them. But I also don't think it would be I don't think that would be a frustration. I would think it would be more of like a lamenting, like, man, if you just don't screw around against Virginia, you're still in the playoff hunt. If you just don't screw around and fumble the ball against Pitt, you're in the playoff hunt. So I would be relieved / happy. Definitely not frustrated.
Well said. We should put these two guys on the screen and have them debate. Jay Cook says in the last 2 games, the offense only scored 3 points in the first 3 quarters versus Miami and only 3 in the second half versus Pitt until the final minute when they were down 2 scores. While the lack of defense is the bigger problem, the offense has been an issue too. Jake Bassett, though, comes and says the offense has been good enough to win all of these games, minus Miami. Very well could be 6-1 with better defensive play.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree with it was atrocious against Miami. They were not ready for the moment. I think Tommy spiraled. I get what Jay Cook is saying there. But yes, so the offense wasn't good enough to beat Miami, clearly. The defense wasn't either, but the offense was the bigger reason you lost. If you score 31 against Pitt, I don't care when the points come, you should win the game. I mean, it's Pitt. You're not playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're playing the Pitt Panthers with a true freshman quarterback. 31 should be good enough. In the 21 they scored in the first half count too. Like, yeah, they only scored 3 in the second half, but as we alluded to, you do have a built-in legitimate excuse that Deuce Robinson got hurt on the last drive of the first half, and then you scored on that crazy alley-oop pass to Landon Thomas. And then after that, you could do nothing in the passing game, and your quarterback couldn't run because he was banged up. So those are legitimate reasons. Now you could coach around it. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to not fumble. When you have a nice drive going from your own 5, you run 11 plays in a row and you have a chance to put the game away. You're allowed to not make those mistakes. But at the end of the day, you did score the 31 points. And I just don't blame. I don't think the offense versus Pitt in the second half isn't equatable to what they did against Miami. I think that was straight up personnel issues. They just did not have good enough players on the outside, except for Mekhi Danzy and I guess LaWayne McCoy. And I don't think your quarterback is really confident when he can't move, which is, again, what you got to deal with. You play with the hand you're dealt, but that's not a great hand to be dealt. The Miami game, they were all there, and Tommy was healthy enough. So yeah, I just want to say again, the offense isn't perfect. Just like Georgia's defense isn't perfect. But overall, on the whole, when you look at the offense, and I'm not even saying it's a great offense for 2025, it is unbelievable how much better it is than it was last year. It is unbelievable. That does not mean it's perfect. It does not mean Gus Malzahn is the savior. I'm just telling you, when you look at these numbers and try to remember what it looked like last year, and now we complain with good reason. Okay, sometimes we complain that they only scored 31 against Pitt. It's like, man, It would take them a month to score 4 touchdowns last year. Literally, they scored 4 touchdowns in one game against a competent defense.
JR Bar 2015 says, give Mike a chance to fight his way out of this.
Yeah, that's this fight. That's coming up Saturday. He's got the chance. If he wins, he gets to keep doing it. I think if he loses either the next 2 games or the Virginia Tech game, I think that's probably peace.
Virginia was because they didn't catch a ball in the end zone. Wasn't on Norvell. Pitt, Deuce got hurt. The quarterback's banged up. Is that on Norvell? Here's my thing, man. It's year 6, brother. Lots of coaches have things don't go their way.
Yeah.
And they don't find themselves in situations where it does come down to like one possession. Yeah. So if this was like 2022, I could maybe understand it. But like right now, I mean, we're giving you the platform to get it off your chest, but I'm not there with you right now.
Well, and again, Deuce dropped the ball or bobbled the ball. I get it. You had also given up 46 points before he did that. That's on Norvell. It's all on Norvell. That's his program. The losses are on him. So yes, there are moments in games where it's hard to complain about what the coach did or didn't do. But, there's a reason that James Williams had to be brought in here because you didn't have anybody on the defensive line and you thought he was going to be the guy. Like, you haven't recruited well enough to make it not to where James Williams wouldn't even play on this team. You had to bring him in. You had to bring DeMonte Diggs in and Deontay McCray in because you had nothing up front. And your linebackers are your linebackers. So that's the defense to me is the bigger story. It's the bigger issue. And I know he's not a defensive coach, but Jimbo wasn't a defensive coach either, but he brought in really good players. And at some point, your lack of personnel becomes the problem of the head coach and the fault of the head coach. Those specific moments, got it, get it. Guys got to go make plays. It's not all on the coach. But over the course of, the last year and a half, they keep stacking up. The examples keep stacking up where he could fight his way out of it. But his job is, in my opinion, absolutely on the line this weekend and will continue to be on the line for the foreseeable future. But there is no rule that says this team can't turn it around. I think they are good enough to win the rest of their games. I do not think they will win the rest of their games, and I hope they prove me wrong. But I do think they are good enough to win the rest of their games. They are not going to be they belong on the field with the 6 teams that are coming up.
Do they have to play like they played against Alabama to win the rest of their games? Or if they play like they played against Virginia, how many games do they win in their next 6? If they play like they did against Pitt, Corey, how many of their next 6 do you think they win?
That's fair. I think I don't think they win the 3 road games.
If they play like they did against Pitt?
If they play like they did against Alabama, I think they do have to play like that to win at Clemson. The defense has to be attacking. It has to be opportunistic. It has to get off the effing field. And the offense has to go make big plays. If they can do that, they can win at Clemson and they can absolutely win at Florida. And obviously they can win at NC State if they can win at those 2 places. But they have to play like they can play like they did against Virginia, and they should be able to beat Stanford. They should be able to beat Wake. They should be able to beat Virginia Tech. Those 3 road games, you have to up it a level. You have to ramp it up a level, and that has to come. So that'll be more like Alabama, I think.
Ken thinks I'm biased because I made a video that he thinks was trolling Mike Norvell, and then I deleted it. Sorry.
Well,
Ken.
that's true. Yeah. Well, yeah. But hey, Aslan hates everyone. If you want to know the truth, other than Jimbo, he hates them all.
That's right. Made it to the finish line, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Shout out to everybody who got involved, asking the question. Shout out to Garnet and Gold for dropping some dollars in the jar. We do appreciate you. Plenty of content going up over at warchant.com. Warchant Report, the matchup analysis, Jeff Cameron's show, 1 to 4 o'clock. They'll be doing a pregame show as well to get you ready. And a reminder, there will not be a postgame show after this one because it's going to be like 3 o'clock in the morning over here on the East Coast. So it's going to be all hands on deck. Yep. I think Gene and Tom are going to be handling most of the first half. I think Matt Lasser might hop into the second quarter. We're going to kind of do a little bit of a watch-along quasi kind of setup like we did 2 years ago.
It's going to be an in-game show instead of a post-game show.
Right. So Corey and I will be having third quarter duties. Will be us. So tap in for that, everybody. And check out warchant.com. It's only
and Ira will be on site. Ira Schofel will be on site, so remember that. He'll be recording Mike Norvell in the post-game press conference as he smiles and tells us all about the 40. What did we say? What did Octavio say? 45 to 10.
45-10.
45-10 victory over Frank Reich.
Yeah, Tony's correct. I do love Lane.
That's true.
Aslan,
Good call, Tony.
Does Aslan want Jimbo back? Maybe. And then
Corey,
like
Corey,
said,
not that you care, CJC. Corey does not. He especially does not. Would not even consider it if he was going to be the offensive coordinator, or if he wouldn't bring in a real big boy offensive coordinator to just run it and have no say in it. There's no chance Jimbo Fisher's back on my campus. But if he wants to keep Gus, how about that? The two coaches from the 13 national championship game are joining forces. How could that lose? Everyone?
Thanks again for joining us, everybody. Shout out to our guy, Andrew, behind the scenes, making all the questions flow smoothly on this program. Live edition. Thanks for watching. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Warchant BOGO, the promo code. Shake it and take it. Buy one, get one free.